today's video, I'm going to be talking about Divi's latest feature called Divi Presets. This feature is going to change the way we design websites, and this is a new design system for Divi. I love it, and I'm sure you'll love it too, so let's check it out. Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Mac, and today's video we're going to be talking about the Divi presets. Now this is the latest feature from Divi. All right, now before we get started, I'd like to remind you that if you buy Divi using my affiliate link, you will get access to my web design formula course, the course that teaches you how to design professional looking websites from scratch, even if you've never designed websites before. Now, there's also a 10% discount in the video description below, so be sure to use that link. And once you've done that, head over to funnelstoincome.com. On the bottom right, you're going to see a chat bubble. Just drop me the receipt number, or you can even attach the receipt on there. Now, once you've done that, I will give you access to the course, which is worth $497. All right, so enough done. Let's talk about the brand new feature. So this feature is going to allow you to design websites fast, and it's also going to allow you to make your websites look very, very consistent. All right, so let's dive in and let's talk about how to get started with this feature. So first of all, you want to make sure you're running the latest updates from Elegant Themes. So to double check if you're running the latest update, you want to come over here to updates. You click on that, and this sort of like refreshes the whole system. And if you do have an update, it will show up here. So once that's done, now let's head over and create a brand new page and start creating our presets. Okay, so over here, I'm just going to create a brand new page. So I'm just going to call this page presets. Okay, but of course you can name this page whatever you want. Right, so I'm going to use Divi Builder. So the reason why I'm excited about Divi Presets is because when you start using presets, it just makes your design process much, much easier. Now, let me dive in and let me show you what I mean by that. So if I click here on Start Building, usually we can come over here and say, right, let's add some blurbs, right? So maybe this is part of your services page. So I'm just going to search for blurbs here, okay? So this is standard. This is how it comes in. It's got the default Divi, kind of preset. So where do we find these Divi presets? So they're up here. So if you blink, you won't see it. It's right here, right at the top here. So if you click on this drop down, this is where you're going to see the presets. So you can see here, I've created the dark blurb. I've created this one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete all that because I want to start with you guys from scratch. So I'm going to come back over here and delete that. I mean, I will go over what all these mean as well. So this is pretty much the basic. This is the standard. This is what it looks like. So let's say we want to create a new preset. So what we do is we come over here, click on add new preset. And this is the most important part. We need to give it a name, something that we can remember. Okay. So I'll call it this new blurb design. Okay. That's all I need to do here. And then I'm going to save. Now notice what happens. This thing has flipped over. So whatever I'm going to design here is going to be applied to this blurb here, and that's going to be used as a preset. Okay. So let's go and do quick designs here. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go to my text, and let's center all the text. And we're also going to go to the title text, and let's change the font here to Poppins. You know, I love Poppins. Right. So here I'm going to change this to regular to bold. And we're also going to go into the body text. So here again, we're going to change this to Poppins, and the size seems okay, but let's bump it up to about 15 and increase the line height a little bit. So as you can see here, I'm making changes to this particular blurb. Okay. Next, what we may want to do here as well is to maybe add a border, and let's add 2 pixels border width. Okay. And then what I may also want to do is to change the border color and also give this some breathing space around this content. So to do that, we're going to come over here to spacing, and then we're going to give this, let's say 30 pixels all around. So let's give this 30 like that. Okay, so that's looking great. And finally, what I'm going to do, in fact, I'm just going to add some rounded corners here. So we're going to go with 14. And then we're going to go back and give this, in fact, we don't need to give this a background color. For the image, we'll pretty much leave it as it is. Okay. So we're going to save this, save it one more time, and that's it. So what we've just done here is we've designed this blurb here. The reason why we've designed it this way and made it as a preset is because next time I want to add more blurbs, I don't need to go through this whole design process. All I have to do is to go in and use the preset. And let me show you how that works. So by the way, the preset is over here. It's called New Blurb Design. Okay, make note of that. So I'm going to save this. And then over here, let's say I need to add a new blurb. Right, so I can just do that. Add my blurb. Notice it's the default as before. So this shouldn't be confusing because we haven't applied the preset yet. So now with this selected, I can just come over here to the top, choose that, and this is it. My preset has worked and I've added my preset onto this blurb. Now that is fantastic. So let's say I need to add another one. I just need to do this one more time, add a blurb, and notice it doesn't have my presets. So I would have to come over here to the top and say new blurb, and then it takes on the preset. All right, but let's say you don't really want to do this. You want to make sure that as you're designing your website, all your blurbs on your website need to look the same. So how do you do that? Well, here's the thing. If I come over here to this design that I was working on, I can go back into the module settings, click over here on this little drop down, go into this blurb, and then click on this pencil icon, right? So let's say I want to make further changes. I can go in here, make further changes, blah, 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 change how it looks, save, okay? But here's the thing. I can actually come over here to this preset, hover over it, and then click on this little star. Now this star will assign the preset as default. So let's go ahead and do that and see what happens now. So I'm going to select that, say yes, save this. Now notice what happens now that this preset is the default on my website. If I come over here now and add a blurb, look at that. I did not need to assign a preset because this is the default across the whole website. Now think about it for a moment. This is really, really powerful. So let's say you have buttons across your whole website that you need to change. You can just create the button that you like and add it as a preset for the global preset, which means all your buttons will have that same design across the whole website. Now this applies also to text, headings, pretty much everything. Okay. Now let me give you another example. So we're done with the blurbs now. I'm going to save this. So let's say every time you design your website, you want to have some padding here because maybe the padding that we normally have is not the right padding. So we can come over here to our section settings. Again, notice we have the preset over here as well. And click on that and then say, okay, in fact, we had the preset over here. So let's delete that and create a new one from scratch. So you can see here the padding is not that much. Now let's create a new preset. So I'm going to say add new. Let's call this padding. Now I want to assign this preset to default. So every single time I add a new section, it's going to have this padding. So I'm going to say yes to that, save this, say yes one more time. And then now it's going to give us our interface to design our global preset. So all I have to do now is to come over here to design, and then you want to come over here to spacing and give this the size that we want. So let's say it is 8 VW, for example. Now that's going to be applied both to the top and the bottom. We save that, save one more time, save it again, and now it's done. Now notice what happens. Now I've just moused over this area here and you can see it says 8 VW, right? So notice what happens now when I create a brand new section. Okay, so I'm going to come all the way down here to the bottom, click this plus button, click on regular. You may have not noticed this, but this now has that 8 VW. So to see that, we're just going to give this section a background. Let me just close this. Okay, so let's give this section a background color just to differentiate it from the top one. So I'm going to come over here and just give it a light color like that, save. Okay, now when I mouse over this area, notice that we have our 8 VW over here. So now I can start adding all my content. So let's say I'm going to add a single column here. And in that column, we are going to add, say, a text module. Select that. And now you can see clearly that we have this 8 VW over here. Awesome, isn't it? So these global presets, I mean, these Divi presets are so amazing because they can be applied to pretty much anything on your website, including animations, scroll effects, colors, everything. Now, what I'm going to do next is almost very important for any type of website out there. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to create a preset or a Divi preset that applies the paragraph text across the whole website. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new text module. So I'm going to click here on this plus button and I'm going to say text just to search for it and select it. Okay, so next you can see here the text that I have here is pretty much your standard from the Divi builder. So I want to change this. I'm going to come over here to design text and I am going to choose default. You know what I'm going to choose? It's pop-ins. So here we go, pop-ins. And we're going to increase the size here to about, let's say 17. So that's going to be my paragraph text across the whole website. So now that I've added 17 here to my text, next I'm going to add some line height. And there we go. I've added my line height here. And then I'm going to save. All right. So now that I have this all set, this is pretty much the preset that I have on my site, but it's not assigned yet. So if I come over here to the top, you can see here I haven't assigned it. This is just me designing this, right? So I'm pretending here that this is the paragraph style that we're going to need, but I need to apply it to all the other pages on my site. So how do we do this? Because it's already on my website. So if that's the case, you want to come over here and say, create new preset from current styles. Okay, so you click on that. And then here we're going to say paragraph text. Okay, so now that I've set it to paragraph text, I want all my paragraph text to have this size, this font, and this styling. So I'm going to assign this to the whole website. Save that, save again. Okay, cool. So all I have to do now is when I create a new module here, it's going to have that styling for all my paragraphs. So let's say I'm going to add a text module here, add my text, and boom, you see, it has my style and it's all intact with my line height. It also has my font itself, the size and everything. So this is really, really powerful. Now you may be thinking, well, Mac, this is only happening on your existing page. What happens when we have other pages on the website? So the best way for me to demonstrate this is by using a pre-made layout. So these settings that we've done here, the global ones, are going to be applied across even pre-made layouts. Now, just think about it. One of the most annoying things or frustrating things that I had before with the pre-made layouts is sometimes the global presets would not work on the pre-made layout. So that was like, oh, I really have to go and expand settings and do all that craziness. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in, load up a pre-made layout, and you're going to see that these global settings apply across all the pre-made layouts. It's amazing. So I'm going to save this. Okay. And then I am going to exit the Visual Builder. Right. So now I am going to open this in a new tab and pretty much create a brand new page. So I'm going to come over here to pages, click on add new, and let's give this page a name and say pre-made. I'm going to use Divi Builder, but this time, instead of building this from scratch, I am going to use a pre-made layout. And the pre-made layout I'm going to use is going to be pretty random. Okay. So it doesn't matter which one I use. I'm just going to scroll through here and see which one I am going to go with. And I think I'm just going to go with, let's have a look. Okay, let's go with this one here. Jenny's Travels. Use this layout. So now it's going to import all the layout elements, row without any changes. But for every part that I've done a global preset, which means it's a preset that's going to be applied across the whole website, those areas are going to change. And this is amazing. Yesterday, it was so mind-blowing, I almost did the happy dance. Let me show you. Okay, so now that my layout has been imported, I'm just going to scroll down here and see where I have the paragraph text. Okay, so here's the paragraph text here, right? So I haven't made it global yet. So let me come over here now and make it global. So I'm going to enable the Visual Builder here, and then I'm just going to go into this one here. It doesn't matter which one you go into. Click here, settings, click on the just drop down, and then I am going to assign preset as default. Yes, save this. Okay, I'm going to save this one more time, and then I'm going to come over here and refresh. Okay, so when I come over here to my preset and take a look at the preset, you're going to notice that whenever we have a paragraph text, this is the style. So you can see here that this is pretty much the same as what we have over here because it's a global Divi preset. So you may be thinking, well, Mac, what is happening over here? Isn't this a text module, and why hasn't the text changed? Well, you know what? I was puzzled as well when I saw this, but now when you take a look at this and drill in, you're going to realize that, oh, okay, why hasn't this text changed? But if you go in here now and click on the settings, you're going to notice that this is a call to action. So this is not your normal text module. So this will make updates to the text modules, but not the call to action modules or the other type of modules. Now, this to me is a good thing, because this text here may be something you want to customize separately. But if you go in and make changes to this and make it a global preset, whatever text call to action module you're going to add is going to have this preset. So you would now need to come over here and create all your presets and make sure they apply to your new pages or even your Divi pre-made layouts. So let's add, let's say, a blurb here and see what happens. So I'm going to come over here and click on this plus button and blurb. There we go. So it has all our styles that we have, which we added as a global preset from here. Okay, so what about, say, images, right? So what I'm going to do now is delete this one here. So what I'm going to do next is we're going to add an image, add some styles to it, and see how it reacts on our pre-made layout. So over here, I know we have a few images. So let's just save this and let's take a look at where the images are. So you see, we have an image here. We also have an image here. So let's see what happens when we make global changes. So I'm just going to exit the visual builder here, because we don't have to be in the actual builder to see all the changes. Okay, so let's just take a quick look one more time. So you can see here, we don't have any styles to this image here, and we need to override it. And if I scroll all the way down here, you can see we have a few images. Now let's go in and add our global styles. So over here, we're going to click here on this plus button, add our image, select it. And let's choose the image that we're going to use. And I'm going to go with, okay, let's go with this one here. Upload an image, and there we go. So we have our image here, but you know what? I wanted something that has a dark background so we can really see the effects that I need to add to it. Okay, so let's use this one instead. Okay, great. So with this one now, I can come over here and say, add new preset. And for this preset, I want to name it rounded corners, like that. And then I need to make sure that this is global, because I want all my images to have rounded corners across my whole website. So I'm going to say assign preset to default. I'm going to save that, save it one more time. And then now I can go in and add all my styles. So let's say I want to add some rounded corners. I'm going to come over here to border, and I'm just going to increase a little bit to about, let's go with 12. I'm going to save that, save one more time. There we go. Great. So now that I've saved this, let me save the page as well. All right. So now that I've saved this, if we go now to our pre-made layouts, right, this should also update across the site. So I'm going to refresh this page. You can see here, our travel gallery, our images now have this rounded corners. And if I go back over here, let's say I want to change this back to normal, I can just come back over here. I can go into my preset, and then I can just go in and start customizing it here, add more items, or do any changes that I need to do to this. So let's say, for example, I need to add a bit of animation to this. I can always come over here, animation, and let's say we need to bounce it. And then with that bounce, if I save it, this is going to be applied pretty much to all my images across the whole website. So you may be thinking, well, what about things like borders and all these changes? Can I still go in and make these changes and add these as presets? And the answer to that is yes. Now, I want to show you something quickly here. So these blurbs are global presets, right? So if I were to come over here and customize this, so I'm going to come over here, and this is the new blurb design. If I click here on this pencil icon, I can go in and make changes to it. So I want you to pay attention to what's happening here. So let's say I go to border and I decide to increase the border. Notice that the border is being increased on both of them. That's because all the blurbs on the website that are affected by the global preset are going to have the updates automatically every time I make a change to it. So this is going to save you a lot of time, as you can see. So I think this is fantastic. And also, if I were to go in here and change the text color, and let's say I choose this as my color, you can see it's instantly updating, which means I don't need to find where all the blurbs are on my website to make changes to them. So they're all updated at once. But bear in mind, it needs to be applied as a global. Okay, if it's not applied as a global, it'll just apply to that single one, and then you can just choose one by one to apply the preset to whatever it is that you need to add it to. So let's talk about cases where you would want to use this. So let's say, for example, you're designing your website and you want to create, let's say, buttons, right? Which are pretty much a preset for your website. Ideally, you want to have two buttons. You want to have a button that works great on a dark background and also a button that works great on a light background on your website, because sometimes you may have different sections that have different button styles. So that's where you would use that. And that is really, really powerful. So whenever you're designing your site and you get to a dark background, you can just switch over and say, and then choose the button, which is for a darker background, which means you have great contrast. Now, other ways to use this as well is, let's say you want to have specific headings and specific paragraph text. You can go in and assign the paragraph text across the whole website, assign the heading text across the whole website, and then also have the headings for different situations like a dark background or a lighter background. But as you can see, if you take this new design system and really think about it, you are pretty much creating a style guide, okay? And this style guide is going to determine what happens across your whole website. And this is really powerful. So you can either do it as a global or you can do it individually. And this is amazing. And the fact that you can apply this across pre-made layouts, that's even a bonus. And Divi has done a fantastic job here, and I'm really excited about this. In my opinion, Divi now is a complete web design application after this. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments box below. That's all I have for you in today's video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell notification. By doing so, you'll be notified whenever I release new tutorials. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.